Hi everyone, Markaboy here. I'm on Gilford Island, way up the north end of Vancouver Island in British Columbia. I'm with Gaina B, Julia, Zephyr, and Aiden. And we've hiked up the stream bed here to find the source of the water for the small community that's downstream from here. We're definitely off grid here. We're way off grid. Currently in a second growth forest. And we're going to show you the pickup for the 3-inch pipe that turns into a 2-inch pipe further downstream. And then we're going to show you the little various ways that the water is distributed. This stream is the sole water source for drinking and bathing water and laundry, etc. And we've just turned off the main inlet valve in order to do a bit of maintenance downstream. That's now completed. So we're going to turn the valve back on, give the intake filter a good clean because it plugs up quite often in the summer with algae and other particulate matter. And so there's no maintenance-free off-grid system available. Even given the sophistication of this system, there's still maintenance needs to be done every few days all year long.
Okay.
So you have to come up here every few days, Zephyr, is that right?
Yeah, at this time of year.
More, you would say, in the summer than in the winter?
Yeah, just especially when it's sunny. You have to clean it more often because algae grows.
And is this the only filter on the intake end of the pipe?
Yes.
This is it?
Yeah.
Essentially, the water flows over the top of the filter, and
the
water that makes it through.
They're shearing it off, sort of. I think they're all tilted downwards. Little metal.
Oh, they're sort of grabbing the water as it flows across,
exactly.
but causing the particulate matter to flow over the top.
Yeah, or just being so
But
fine.
it's not quite good enough to have the algae. The algae gets caught.
It gets caught and grows. So.
It always amazes me that even with the thousands of dollars that this system has obviously cost, just the cost of the pipe alone, there is no maintenance free. You've still got to be constantly watching the system.
Yeah, and sometimes a year are better than others, and when we have less users.
So now we're turning the water back on. Yeah.
Water back on to the rest of the system.
And I don't know what...
See?
Oh, sure. Oh, that's amazing.
Neat, eh?
Oh, so it's grabbing most...
It's grabbing a lot of it. Well, yeah.
Just about all of that water that was going over the filter is now falling through the filter and into the pipe and down to the residences.
Yeah, and other times of year, we'd be in the stream. So it's
Sure.
hard to reach this in the fall if you need to do maintenance. Or the winter.
But you just lean
over
and stick your hand in the water
white water. Yeah.
Now, one of the questions I know you folks are going to be asking me is, how do we know that this water is pure enough to drink? Because remarkably, there's no chlorination involved here. We've got a free-flowing stream that runs year-round, and the folks who access this water drink it straight. They use it for cooking, drinking water, you name it. And the recommendation, of course, is that you boil the water just to make sure that all the pathogens are killed off. But that is time consuming and turns out to be unnecessary in this case. This water, while it may be murky from time to time, has proven pure enough to drink year-round for many years now. You will notice that this water has a very slight yellow tinge to it, and this is caused by the tannins in the cedar trees, and it's perfectly safe to drink. In fact, probably adds a lot of vitamins and minerals to your water supply. We're just heading downhill now, and we're still on the 3-inch portion of the line. About halfway down, the line turns into a 2-inch line. We wind up with about 80 pounds pressure at the bottom, and the total length of the line, the 3-inch and the 2-inch combined, is about 1 kilometer. So what we have here is a valve that Zephyr's going to inspect. Now that the filter at the head end of the line is clear, we have water re-entering the line, and we just want to check that we've got positive airflow, which indicates that the water is coming into the line.
Yeah, and when it's all full, there'll be water coming out too. But for now,
quite a difference to on the way up where we had nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going to release a bit of air.
Big old cedar stump behind me here, about 8 feet in diameter at the base there, complete with the old springboard notches. Probably felled about 100 years ago. So there's a bunch of points like this along the pipe, and where we can see if we've got a full pipe of water. So Zephyr's just bleeding off the water there, and hey presto, the pipe's full.
Right here, anyway.
Right here, at this point. And there's the old dipsy doodles in the pipe, and so there'll be air pockets and parts of the pipe that are full and everything in between. And even, again, given the sophistication of the system, it still needs tending from day to day, and the person, Zephyr usually, who tends it, has to have a feel for how the system works in order to keep everything running smoothly. The gizmo attached to the top of the valve here is a one-way air outlet valve. A number of these were installed when the system was built, but they've all failed since. So in most cases the valve has been removed, and we're just down to a regular hand-operated valve and the old manual earlobe technique to detect exactly what's happening in the line. Big old cedar tree behind me, remarkably left untouched by the industrial logging of over 100 years ago, and we're otherwise surrounded by a small number of cedar trees, western red cedar, but mainly varieties of fir and hemlock. Story on this is a cedar tree attacked by a big old hungry black bear that ripped the bark off to get at the juicy material underneath, and looks like he climbed all the way up the tree and ripped off the bark and killed the tree. Here's the one of the other vents, and we'll just open it slowly, just a crack, and see which way the wind is blowing, as it were. There's no doubt that that air is escaping the line there as it fills with water. So we'll just leave it open a crack and continue on our way down. It's really neat. We're still on the 3-inch line, and if you listen carefully, we can hear the water trickling through the line. A spectacular fountain in the woods.
Oh, it gets way more than that.
It should do.
Should be
Way higher, yeah. Alright, that's pretty good. Perfect. Well, that's as good as it gets.
Well, I hope you guys know I sacrificed my arms and my face and my neck for that. I got so excited.
I know.
Here's where we switch from the 3-inch line reduced to a 2-inch line, and I'd say estimate we're roughly 2/3 of the way down the line. We're closer to home than we are to the source. In addition to cleaning the intake at the source of our water supply, there was a reason that we switched off the valve at that point in order to facilitate the installation of a pressure gauge. Now we are at the terminus of the water line. So we've got a pressure gauge here so that Zephyr, who manages the system, doesn't have to run backwards and forwards to the only other pressure gauge in the system, and she can adjust the pressure in the line by looking at this gauge standing still. Here we are at the terminus of our water line, where there are two tanks. One is a dedicated container in case of fire. We hope that never happens around here. The other one is for the household supply, and the line under considerable pressure now will fill the tank automatically, and it will also shut off by use of this ball valve in here. And that way we've got a dedicated tank to the household supply that now operates with maybe 60-70 feet of head and automatically controls the pressure at a decent level for inside the various buildings here.